Duet Night Abyss, a game that made headlines for itself a while back for announcing it was removing its character and weapon gachas. This is how I first heard about the game, and it rightfully caught my attention. Since then, I'd check in on it every so often to see what was going on. Supposedly, all characters and weapons in the game can be obtained freely by just playing. It sounds too good to be true. So is it? We're here to find out, as I was lucky enough to have Duet Night Abyss reach out to me with early access for a sponsorship. So thanks Duet Night Abyss for sponsoring this video. But before we get into that, I should probably introduce what the game is about. It, having just released and all, you know? Duet Night Abyss features a story with dual protagonists. One is part of a suppressed race called Charons, who is thrust into the harsh reality of the world after being separated from their companion. The other is a Solarian, and a captain in the Suppressive Empire's military. The player is exposed to these contrasting viewpoints as they advance a story that's...
What do you think you're doing?
a bit dark at times. The combat is fast and reminiscent of hack and slash games. I've seen many comparisons of it to Warframe, though I've admittedly never played Warframe, so it reminds me of something more like Dynasty Warriors, but with guns, too. One of the first things that stood out to me is that all characters can use any weapon. If you have an absolute favorite character, but also have a super powerful sword, no need to worry because they can use it. There's no lockout by weapon type, though they do get a boost if you use their preferred weapon combos. I can only imagine how strenuous this is going to be on the animation team, so I wish said team the best of luck. That's some insane workload. Gameplay combines combat and exploration in maps that vary from feeling open world to being more tight-knit with a clear endpoint you're progressing towards. These are played with a single character you selected before setting out, with the option of bringing along up to 2 additional players in co-op, or, and this part is cool, 2 additional computer-controlled allies from your roster of characters, complete with whatever builds you set them up with. Alright, let's move on to the crux of this video, investigating if the character and weapon gachas have truly been removed from the game. Because there's definitely a cosmetics gacha. Notably, cosmetics are strictly for appearances and offer no stats or gameplay benefits. There are also some universal outfits that can be directly bought, and there's even a dye system that includes changing weapon colors. But we're here to talk about the characters and weapons, so let's get to it. Have the gachas for these been removed? The short answer? Yes. The character and weapon gachas do not exist. Instead, characters and weapons are either grinded for through gameplay or bought directly from the in-game store with paid-for currency. Direct purchase is cheaper than the average gacha character, but it's still a tad too pricey for my tastes. So let's look at the gameplay alternative, which is also our long answer. I did a test run of unlocking this swell dude, Randy, all through grinding, which involves spending a limited resource earned by playing called Secret Letter Clues to tackle commissions with a chance of dropping character thoughts. 30 thoughts are required to unlock a character. With new player resource abundance, and after a few hours of story and unlocking systems, I was able to get Randy in roughly 80 minutes with 31 runs. Bear in mind, this is a sample size of 1, and thoughts are not the only drops earnable here. Players have a 10% chance of getting 10 thoughts as a drop, while the other tier drop rates aren't given. Also, these commissions will be completed far quicker alongside other players, something I didn't have in a lonely test server. Unless you decide to do this convoy escort commission. Don't do this one, because you have no control over the completion time due to the convoy moving by itself. I found Dismantle to be the best, and imagine it'll be the quickest for co-op as well. The main character is good here, as their skill is able to quickly destroy the objectives. This is the full breakdown of items used to unlock Randy, as well as each of the 7 times I received thoughts as drops. And that's how characters are unlocked. Duplicates to strengthen them beyond what leveling up and equipment can do is done by repeating the process. up to 6 times for each character. Weapons are similar, though you are working towards getting the components as drops from the commissions instead of thoughts. After the components and blueprint are obtained as drops, you can then forge it. It's an interesting system. I imagine after the abundance of resources new players obtained is spent, it'll take some time to replenish them. From purely renewable resources, like dailies, weeklies, etc., dedicated players can expect to earn 534 secret letter clues in a 30-day period. That's 53 attempts at character commissions in 30 days, not including additional letters given out through events, quests, and exploration. Interestingly, the Battle Pass, both free and paid, does not offer this resource. Some characters aren't part of this system, and instead are locked as guaranteed character-specific letter drops tied to weekly bosses, of which one gets 5 attempts per week. The level of the boss determines which rewards you'll get. Unfortunately, unlocking difficulties is tied to your in-game trial level, so you can't brute force these to unlock higher difficulties early. The math works out more favorably here, with between 60 to 100 commission attempts in a 30-day period. Lastly, a mode called Immersive Theater offers even more chances to unlock characters and weapons. This mode always features the newest character and their weapon, with up to 65 character commissions and 30 for their weapon up for grabs. From my understanding, when a new character is released, the previous Immersive Theater character and weapon gets moved to weekly bosses, and after some time, they'll make their way to the secret letter clue shop. All in all, it seems they've delivered on their promise of players having access to characters and weapons without paying. Though, do these systems make the game grindy? Yes, but that grind comes and goes in relation to the resource required to play commissions for characters and weapons. Earning resources to ascend characters, to level their skills, or to just earn money are not time-gated and can be played infinitely, as there's no stamina system. I think it's a refreshing approach to things. I know I just called them limited, but if you really want to, you can straight up grind secret letter clues endlessly by playing any of the other commission modes, such as those for character ascension materials. Just keep in mind it'll take a while, as they're neither common nor dropping in large quantities. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have critiques outside of these systems. Gameplay-wise, there are a few spots I felt were jarring, such as this out-of-bounds teleporting. You all knew trying to go out of bounds was the first thing I did, huh? While I understand this is a non-issue for the vast majority of the player base, it becomes a problem when the same sort of thing is applied to quest areas. All I wanted to do here was continue exploring the area after I'd reached the end of the quest. Doing so caused me to accidentally leave the area and instantly fail the quest. Though said quest is short and I could skip the cutscenes, I did still have to repeat it. As you can see, I'm not talking about having went through a load zone or accepted a warning prompt. I just happened to step out of the quest's range on the current map. The visual clutter in battles is a bit much. There are so many effects on screen that it's hard to see what is going on. You can hide teammates' combat effects to reduce this by a lot, but I think a setting to make this easier on the eyes, perhaps darkening the effects, would go a long way, as some effects are rather bright. There are a ton of items. Though the game explains each and every one, it's overwhelming and remains as such until you start to unlock the systems and modes in which you can use them. Lastly, they probably want to revisit face animations for NPCs like townsfolk. It's a bit awkward. Overall, I believe Duet Night Abyss to be a bit of a different experience than other anime-inspired mobile games. Some buffing of its rougher edges and a bit of polish brushed over top may solidify it in the long run. And I'm curious to see where its development leads as a game that removed some components typical of gachas. Duet Night Abyss is available now on Windows PC, Android, and iOS. Download now using the link in the description to earn up to 7 free characters through launch events and gameplay. Enjoy 55 free pulls at launch and claim up to 107 total pulls for the cosmetics banners through limited time events. This is Musashi, signing off. Till next time.